Hi, welcome to Carla's Variety. I'm Carla B. I'm a preschool teacher and I'm also a mom of an almost 2-year-old. I'm here to be like your big sis of the big wide school world. I have a very serious passion to make sure that families feel so ready for their child to come to school. I feel like there's a lot of things that are written on paper, but behind the scenes, school starts at home. So whether your child is starting 2K, 3K, pre-K, or kindergarten, please do listen to these tips because back to school is coming up. All right, tip number 1 is working on your child's independence. And I know that this is going to be a cliche, but truly having your child start to practice putting away their toys at home, having them clean up their meal after to the trash can or the sink, dishwasher. These are opportunities that children will have to be independent. They're also following step orders, 1-step or 2-step orders or commands that they're going to be seeing in school. Remember, your child is not going to be the only one at school. They can be around 10, 15 to even 18 children their first time around in school. And so you really want to make sure that your child can do things on their own. Can they get up and clean up by themselves? Do they have to be told multiple times? My son is Nolan, so I say, Nolan, stand up. Then he stands up from his table. Then I say, all right, plate to the sink. It's simple communication like that. I don't have to say, Nolan, you need to stand up and clean up your plate, put it right in the sink that's too much. We have to make sure we say clear communication, simple steps for our children at whatever the age they are. My son is 2 months from 2, so I am still giving those short and sweet commands, but I'm giving him time to complete the first one and then giving him the second task. So as your child will be in school, there will be labels, picture labels, word labels of what certain items are for, usually in a clear bin or some sort of like space where children can be able to reach or visually see immediately. If you can create the same space at home, that'd be really awesome. So open baskets, things with no lids that they can clean back up super fast, gets them prepared for the early cleaning up and independence at school. Tip number 2 is asking for help. If you notice that your child stands and stops and waits to always be asked first, oh, do you want me to do that for you? Oh, do you want me to do that for you? Sometimes we have to pause and you can observe your child sitting here, standing there waiting for you. And you can say, Nolan, can you ask mommy, help please? Or open please, right? My son, he knows where the snacks are at and he'll get the box and bring it to me. And I say, mommy, open please. And he'll say, open please. And that is giving them space to practice the vocabulary, because when they're at school, again, it's not just your child, it's 10, 15, 18, up to 20 kids where your child is going to have to be able to speak up and say if they need help in the bathroom, if they need help to find something. They need to use their words. Oftentimes, teachers are like, do you need the bathroom? You look like you need the bathroom. Please practice with your children and having them ask for everything. It's going to be very daunting. It's going to be a lot sometimes, but it's really good practice for you to model the behavior that you want your child to start working on. And then tip number 3 is have your child practice waiting. Now, whether they have siblings or they are your only child, have your child practice waiting for your time, your attention. I can't stress enough, the world does not revolve around your child, and I know how that might sound, but truly, if you're on the phone, hold on when mommy's finished with my phone call, I will play with you. This will bring me into another video about having your child practice independent play. We don't necessarily need to be in our child's faces all the time. They do need to practice what it feels like to do a puzzle on their own, or to, use their cars or play with their dolls on their own. We don't always have to facilitate or join them. Sometimes we can just observe how our children are interacting with the world. So practice waiting. So if you're talking to another sibling, if you're talking on the phone, if you're doing something in the middle of something, Children don't necessarily at this age understand the concept of time. Hold on a minute, hold on 2 minutes, hold on 5 minutes. If you show them a timer, it can be a little different. If you have a sand timer or a visual color timer, or there's a number timer or clock or whatever that you've introduced to your child so far, they don't really understand time at all. So you do have to say, when I'm finished with, or when I'm finished doing this, then I will come to your attention, or then I will play with you. Waiting is hard. And if your child gets upset, waiting is hard, I understand. But sometimes you have to play with by yourself, and mommy has to do this, or daddy has to do that, or auntie or uncle. The biggest thing that children love is gratitude. They love to feel like, oh my gosh, like I did this thing for my grown-up, and now they complimented me. And when you're finished doing that task, or you're finished talking to someone, you can say, I love the way you waited for me. Thank you so much for waiting. That was a really great job at waiting. And that was 3 tips just to prepare you and your child to get ready for the world of school. Please come back and listen for more. Also add in the comments if there's anything that you want to see or you want to talk about next. I do plan to talk about morning routines at home, speaking up for yourself, things like social emotional skills, and what the classroom life is actually going to look like to get your child more confident. Everything I'm talking about is not just about being academically smart, but you really want to make sure that you are preparing your child as a whole human being for a world of school. There's sharing, there's caring. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.